Today, I have one of my favorite guests, and he's a favorite guest of mine because, well, it's because he's really so smart. And he's also one of the co-authors of the book, The Elon Musk Mission. If you haven't purchased your copy yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Brian Wang has been on my show multiple times before. Brian, glad to have you here.
Glad to be back again.
All right. And if you like having Brian on, hit the like button right now, or hit it later if you want to. But if you like having Brian on, hit it so that then I know that you like having Brian on, and I'll have him on more. Also, subscribe and all that kind of stuff as well, and Patreon, and then follow Brian on his Next Big Future blog, nextbigfuture.com. I'll put all that information down below as well. Brian, we're going to talk about your favorite subject in the whole wide world, I think, right now, which is Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're getting close to hopefully being in production.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked back over production ramps before, and it seems to me that we should be, running 1,000 a month by August, maybe, and maybe a couple of thousand in September. What do you think? What does your historical reference points tell you in terms of what you think the run rates will look like as we get into the fall?
I would say that I'm more conservative than what you're projecting there. I think that they get to bigger numbers next year, but it seems that they are going to. One, there's a lot of new technology in it, right? They've said, okay, it's the best thing ever kind of thing, and because there's so much technology in it, that they will get it right before they go fast. That's my general thinking. But when they do go fast, it is designed to be whatever. So I think it tops out at that 1 million, 2 million level kind of thing per year. But, the fact, certainly with the experience at Berlin and Austin, I'm more conservative as to how fast they choose to go. Not how fast they could go, but how fast they choose to go.
I see. Okay. And so I'm thinking maybe we start seeing something coming off the line in June or July. Is that kind of where you are?
Yeah, I think that
employees or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they'll start making some employee cars. They already have some. They just do that more. And again, it also goes to the official announcement, and then also goes to that they would reveal the pricing.
That'd be good.
We have to get the new pricing and that kind of stuff. So, but I do think that as we get, there will be very exciting things that they will reveal, like how big is that battery size, how much can it tow, are they making a class 4 type vehicle? Because with semi-tech in there with 3-4 engines, they can get it to class 4 is basically towing, moving 15,000 pounds vehicle plus whatever. So 9,000 pounds with a 6,000 pound vehicle, 5,000 people, 10,000 pounds. That's a Ford F450 kind of vehicle, right? So that is a huge thing because there's demand for many thousands of those vehicles, even maybe 100,000 or 200,000 of those type vehicles, F450, F350 type vehicles. And you get, $1 billion, $2 billion supporting that from New York and from California. And there's also these other places around the world where they're saying, okay, for these medium work trucks, how much can they do? And Tesla Semiconductor can make that happen. But it's again kind of thing where, if Tesla was hungry for maximizing a quarter, a year and a half, they would do those things. But as I've found is that, when they do like the 2 lines for the 4680, A/B testing and that kind of stuff, they are looking at the longer term game, and they don't have to, even though we would like them to maximize the quarter.
Yes.
They're not thinking that way. They're thinking, I'm going to win the whole thing. I don't need to do something silly right now I don't care about a few $1 billion kind of thing. I'm looking at $1 trillion.
So you don't think that the class 4 truck would be the first one out the gate? It would be more of a popular model, a high-end popular model. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it's basically whatever Halo thing, and it also goes to whatever logistical, technological things, other factors that they have in there about how they want to roll it out, which do not necessarily align with how do I maximize my buck the next 3 quarters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but in the past, they've always come out with the higher end, and then come down, right? Like we saw the 500-mile semi truck and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So the Class 4 is Rivian are Ford currently making a Class 4 version of their vehicles? No.
They don't have the towing capability. All of the Model X, Tesla Model X, the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Rivian R1 or whatever, they all drop from 300-mile range empty, and if they tow, or put 1,000 pounds into them or whatever, the mileage drops right away and they go down to like 100, 120. The Lightning the worst, Rivian and Tesla a bit better, but not that much, which is why the semi-tech is so disruptive. You can drop from like 400 miles down to 300, 500 to 400, that you don't drop that much. Although, of course, you have to keep it, the cross section, how tall it is, what's coming behind. There's issues around aerodynamics that would affect that.
That would affect every car.
Yeah, it affects every car. It's
every
physics.
truck. Yeah, right.
Physics.
Right.
Yeah.
It's physics. Yeah. All right. So we have this whole Class 4 category. And you've mentioned so many times before, nobody else is talking about this, that there is money available, especially in California and New York, two of the largest states in the union. There's money available from those states to help companies purchase these Class 4 trucks, as well as the semi trucks, but the Class 4 in particular. So that could be another reason for, potentially at least, having that be one of the earliest ones that they push out the door.
Right. Or just some premium tri-motor thing, that 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So in addition to this, so now, there's been all this arguing going back and forth with the so-called pundits on CNBC and whatnot, saying, well, it's just a car for, driving around Beverly Hills and, showing your friends that you've got this crazy monster truck. I think that you're thinking kind of almost the opposite, that this is an incredible work truck that would be foolish for a business person not to purchase.
Right. And also that goes to the theory that they come out with the vehicle that is a beast, that is basically, moving huge weights. It changes the view of it, because right now, many of the people who are contractors, people who use vehicles for work to load it up with a ton of material, 3 tons of material, they were hot for the F-150 Lightning, but then they started to drive it, try to use it. Well, this thing gets crap. It doesn't give me any miles. I can't use this thing. I have to work, right? So by addressing that market and showing this first thing, doing this incredible moving stuff that nothing else can do, right? In the class, right? With electricity, that then they can say the halo effect, because, just like you came up with the Hummer in the day, right? The U.S. Army used it. And then the people who said, I'm not going to go fight a war, but I want my Hummer because, Arnold's driving it and blah, 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 right? So that's the kind of thing where if you come up with a beast, long range, moving a lot of stuff, yes, it's more expensive, but it showed you, here's the aspirational thing. Oh, you can't afford that? Here, we'll give you another one later.
Right. Yeah, I get you. So in many ways, I guess as a marketer, I would be inclined to go with the beast first. In particular, because I'm probably going to make more money on it. I've got all these advantages in California and New York that I can take advantage of, and I get the halo effect. I mean, all those things would seem to scream like that would be the first one out the door if other things are not getting in the way.
Right. Now, I'm only making a few thousand, then, I can perfect this stuff. Yeah.
And so then we step down, though, to the next guy, the guy who's maybe used to spending $65,000 for a truck. He's used to loading it up reasonably. He's a local contractor, and most of the time he's just putting wood in it or aluminum or something that's not that heavy. But he needs it on a day-to-day basis. And for that person, as well as the Class 4 person, the savings just the savings in terms of the overall cost of running it compared to an ICE vehicle is going to be way more important to them than it is to me as a regular consumer driving a car. And so the choice of getting away from ICE, even if I think the thing looks a little odd, might still be, oh my gosh, why would I stick with this expensive gas guzzler when I can get this other one that never no downtime hardly, and get my energy cost goes down, my monthly payments may be the same, the resale value is probably way higher because it's brand new and everybody's talking about it. So there's a huge number of business reasons why you would think folks would be lined up for that one.
Right. Yeah. So that comes out, I'm thinking, they'll announce that you can pre-order it, or, we already have pre-orders in, but, you're shifting the orders that were pre-ordered before into other things. And, they get to mass production, early next year. Right. And then they start rolling out, the different other models, but hopefully they surprise us and they can come up with more, but because they have been preparing for a long time. So
right. Now the other aspect, of course, is we do have all these pre-orders in. Some people have estimated to be 1.7 million. I've heard 1.5 million. Maybe it's 2 million. I don't know, but there's a lot of pre-orders, and some people are like, well, it's only $100, and so a lot of those will fall by the wayside. So I did a poll on Twitter, and on the poll, I believe it was 87% said, no, I'm taking the truck.
Right.
And so I don't know whether that's just the Twitter group. Obviously, it's not a scientific poll, but that was pretty high level. I've got one on order, and my intention is if I take delivery of it, my wife wants to drive it. She's done with the Model. She says she loves her Model Y. She thinks everybody who's not driving a Tesla is stupid, but she would trade in and take the Cybertruck. I think you have one on order as well, right?
Yeah, I have several on order.
You have several on order.
Yes,
so you can send them out on rental?
Robo-trucking. Yeah. I think that's a possibility. Okay. So it, again, depends upon how the pricing and other things shake out. But I'm expecting to be happy.
Okay. Do you think anything will be said at the earnings call next week about Cybertruck? I'm sure it will be at least one or two of the retail questions. Do you think they'll say anything before the questions in the afternoon?
Well, they won't take anything away from the big event. We all know that. They don't want to take anything away. So if they do say something, it'll be probably minimal and unsatisfying for the people who are anxious.
Okay.
But they'll say a few things, but it'll be a tease.
So if it's going to be out in July, we would have to have a reveal in either May or June, right?
Right. So they again do a second event, because the last one was so long ago.
Right.
It's like, here's the real deal. Right. And then shape what they want us to do. Right.
And so that reveal, so maybe the earnings call will be where they announce the date of the reveal. That'd be a good enough. That would make people happy.
Yeah. But Tesla doesn't want to overload one thing. This is about the earnings. This is about whatever. They'll say a couple of things about what they want us to do, but it's not like with the product thing that they said, product event, go to a product event. So there'll be a separate thing for it. Hopefully it'll be late April, May. Yeah, I'm expecting it'll be like May, because they give it a few weeks ahead of time. So I'm thinking May they do that. So, then we don't see the first vehicles until like July.
Yeah. All right. What else? Anything else on the Cybertruck that you think my audience would be interested to hear at this point?
I think that there'll start to be a steady drumbeat of stuff being shown, and yeah, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see the line, all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get all the answers in the next few months. But it's just when Tesla's ready, then we'll show it.
I know I had a huge question for you, and I almost forgot to ask it. So I know you've studied some of the other countries with regard to the the semi-truck. I know that the pickup truck is basically an American, a United States kind of concept. Although I certainly know that in Mexico, there's a lot of pickup trucks in Mexico. I have no idea about the rest of the world. If they don't use the American pickup truck, what do people use for that electrician to go out on the job, or for the contractor to go out and build a house and so?
They use a lot of mini trucks. So
little tiny ones.
Yeah, like the smallest Toyota
yeah.
pickup truck kind of thing. They use that, but then adapted with a small box behind it. They use a lot of those kind of vehicles. But then, China does have several, what we consider like a mid-sized medium truck, which is what the, like that shortened cab thing and the boxy thing where it's moving a half container.
Right.
So that's also what the 450 does, where it move that kind of vehicle. So but then the Cybertruck needs to have a modification where, okay, you got this frontal thing and go into the little triangle. They need to do something to mate the back to the thing, so the airflow goes consistently over to it, right? So there needs to be something maybe where it goes like a wedge, right? Where the back is tall and then mate into the back of the thing.
Right.
So there needs to be a version that does that. When they do it, like maybe we can make 2 million the other kind. We'll get to that 3 years down the road, right? But there needs to be, for that thing, you need to have something made into the containers in the back.
So the pickup truck for the rest of the world might be something that goes on the Generation 3 platform.
Right. It could go into the Generation 3 platform, right? Okay. Especially with, like hairpin motors, more power, all that kind of stuff. They could pack a lot of power into a small size.
Right. Okay. Hey, Brian, always great to have you on. I know that we're actually going to have you on a few times, not exactly sure the order or the days yet, but I love having you here. And remember, you need to go to Brian Wang's, to his blog. It is one of the most incredible blogs you're ever going to visit, nextbigfuture.com. He's covering everything from space. Brian.
Yes.
When's the Starship going to launch?
They're saying April 17th. If you can't hit that date, then it'll be later that week. But 17th is what they're targeting. Morning.
All right. So for space, for energy, for all kinds of things that are not even related to Tesla or anything Tesla's doing, go to Brian's blog, and then like and subscribe and hit my Patreon. I could certainly use some more folks on Patreon. I think Brian has a Patreon as well, and I'm sure he'd like you to join his Patreon too. Great talking to you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.